Level 1, limited wars. Limited war means keeping the fight small. Country A accuses Country B of stealing its favorite pasta recipe. Instead of nuking the entire food chain, Country A declares a limited war and states they are only going to fight for control of the tomato sauce factory. Nothing else. When armies are deployed, both sides agree. No destroying residential areas. No targeting cultural landmarks. Once the tomato factory is secured, everyone goes home. It's intense, but it's not scorched earth chaos. It's a spicy food fight, not a kitchen explosion. Most nations prefer a limited war because it keeps things classy, manageable, and politically defensible. Full-scale wars are expensive, destructive, and messy, like hosting a reunion with unlimited tequila. Limited wars let nations save face and achieve specific, often minor, objectives, like land, resources, or political leverage, while avoiding catastrophic fallout. The Gulf War in 1991 is a classic modern example. The goal of the coalition was clearly defined: push Saddam Hussein's forces out of Kuwait. The war was limited in scope, geography, and objective, preventing a wider, more complex conflict in the region. Level 2. Civil wars. A civil war is a war fought entirely within the same nation, often between groups vying for control of the government, resources, or sometimes just the chance to say, "I'm right and you're wrong," with cannons. It's when a country decides to unfollow itself on social media and then start subtweeting with tanks. Civil wars often start when there's a buildup of tension between political or ethnic groups, especially when there is profound inequality. When one group feasts on manna while another barely gets crumbs, resentment boils over like a cheap soda left in the sun. The crazy thing is that civil wars can literally range from short bursts of chaos to decades-long nightmares, with factions picking sides and pushing propaganda. The American Civil War, from 1861 to 1865, remains the defining example, arguing over slavery, economics, and states' rights. But look at modern examples, like the complex and devastating conflicts in Syria or Sudan. Level 3, independence wars. Independence wars are like living with a roommate who controls everything you do. They decide what's for dinner, what shows you can watch, and even when you're allowed to flush the toilet. One day, you snap and declare you are moving out, going solo. But instead of letting you pack your bags in peace, they barricade the fridge and start a passive-aggressive war over the Wi-Fi. You are forced to fight your way out by any means necessary. That's the vibe of an independence war. A dramatic showdown where a group of people decides they've had enough of being ruled by another power and fight for their freedom. At its core, an independence war is what happens when a group of people gets absolutely fed up with being colonized or governed by someone else and want to go solo. The reason for most independence wars can be summed up in one word: frustration. When the ruling power gets too bossy, raising taxes, banning cultural practices, or most importantly, stripping resources, the colonized people start sharpening their pitchforks. Colonizers love taking resources while giving crumbs in return, and the colonized are rarely happy about that.
Imagine someone coming into your home, stealing your gold, and building skyscrapers in their homes, while yours is left in poverty. Eventually, people just want their own flag, their own government, and the right to make their own awkward leader speeches. The Indian independence movement, the Haitian Revolution, and the struggles of numerous African nations post-World War II all stand as powerful examples. These wars are the ultimate political breakup, where the people finally assert their identity and claim their self-determination. Level 4. Revolutionary wars. When a revolutionary war starts, it is a full-blown, society-upending conflict, where a group of people, known as the revolutionaries, rise up to overthrow an established government or ruling power. Revolutionary wars often aim to replace oppressive systems with something more egalitarian, or at least something fundamentally different. It's like hitting the reset button on your country, but with more explosions, dramatic speeches, and slightly less Wi-Fi. Revolutionary wars don't just start because someone is having a bad day. They usually ignite slowly and then turn into full-blown coups, often seen in countries where there's severe social inequality, and the rulers treat people like walking piggy banks. The good thing about revolutionary wars is that they are not just about fighting. They are a movement to change oppression. They are the ultimate before and after makeover show for a country, where the after is usually a brand new political system, often inspired by ideals of liberty, equality, and self-determination. The American Revolution, which birthed the United States, is the template. These wars are what happen when people finally look up and go, "We've updated our terms and conditions, and you're no longer the boss." Level 5. Religious wars. A religious war, as the name suggests, is a conflict fought over religious differences, or specifically, to impose a particular belief system. Religious wars are about asserting the ultimate sacred truth, where one religion believes their divine hotline is clearer, while the other thinks their path to salvation is superior. To get the proper recipe for a religious war, you take a bowl of fervent faith, sprinkle in some righteous indignation, add a dash of, "My God's bigger than your God," and stir vigorously until someone throws a holy relic at someone else. Basically, one religion or denomination insists it's the only way, often leading to deep-seated intolerance and persecution of those with different beliefs. But here's the often missed truth. Religious wars aren't just about faith. They are fundamentally about power and politics. Leaders often use religion to justify invasions, to rally diverse populations under a single unifying banner, or to legitimize conquest. At the end of the day, religion is often the excuse, not the root cause, as leaders use divine mandates to justify very earthly ambitions. Think of the Crusades in the Middle Ages, or the devastating conflicts unleashed during the European wars of religion. In modern times, conflicts framed by religious tensions, such as those involving groups that claim a divine mandate for their actions, continue to plague regions around the world, proving that theology remains a potent, explosive fuel for conflict. Level 6. Regional wars. The thing about regional wars is that they often ignite over territorial claims. Classic sibling rivalry stuff over borders and land. A classic example of this is the India-Pakistan conflict over Kashmir. Both sides think they're the rightful owners, and the result has been decades of tension, flare-ups, and massive military buildup. But regional disputes can also break out when people start fighting over finite resources, water, oil, or even fertile land. Imagine a sibling fight over the last slice of pizza, but the pizza is where the grass is greener and the river flows. Sometimes, though, the fight is over ideology, democracy versus dictatorship, or capitalism versus communism, but the fighting stays geographically contained. However, even though regional wars are concentrated, they can still have serious global side-eye moments. That neighborhood fight draws attention from everyone nearby, and the whole city starts gossiping. The Korean War, for example, was a regional conflict, but it quickly pulled in big players like the US, China, and the Soviet Union, turning a local fight into a massive geopolitical pressure cooker.
Level 7. World Wars. World Wars is like the ultimate group project gone wrong. But imagine that project involves nearly every country on Earth, fighting on multiple continents, across oceans, and sometimes even in the skies. It's the conflict that takes the neighborhood dispute and scales it up to engulf the entire planet. The scale is what defines it. It's the mobilization of total resources, where the distinction between soldier and civilian starts to blur, and the goal isn't just a political concession, but the complete, fundamental restructuring of global power. A world war doesn't just pop up overnight. It's a slow, terrifying convergence of decades of simmering tension, complex treaty obligations, and usually someone with a truly epic case of delusions of grandeur who wants to rule the world. Think about the lead-up to World War I. Interlocking treaties meant that when two minor countries started squabbling, every other major power felt obliged to jump in, like a geopolitical domino effect. The second one, World War II, was even more direct. It started when Hitler and his allies decided that world domination sounded like a great idea. When a world war erupts, the entire global economy pivots. Factories that once made cars start making tanks. Scientists are pulled from their labs to develop weapons technology. Every civilian is part of the war effort, whether they're rationing food, volunteering for civil defense, or working double shifts in a munitions plant. The human cost is staggering, and the technological leaps from the jet engine to the atomic bomb fundamentally reshape life on Earth long after the last bullet is fired. The shadow of the world wars still dictates our geopolitical realities today, forming the basis of the UN, NATO, and the modern concept of international law. It is the conflict type that humanity vows never to repeat, because the risk of total annihilation is simply too high. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more History Condensed.